All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my next video. All right. I'd like to continue with the theme of 109, which is, of course, also the title of my book. All right. Today's discussion will solely be about time. Okay. In the last video, I tried to explain everything from math to statistics to time and also the calendar with relation to 109, or rather 109. So I'm going to take it slower with this video. All right. So the title of my book is 109, or at least it looks like this. Now, I prefer to call the book 109. Okay, and that's because when I look at the numbers 1, 0, and 9 together, when I see these numbers together, it is a call, it is an allusion to my birthday. All right, so what I do is I break it down and I look at 10 and then I look at 9. So I see 10, the 10th month, October, and 9, the 9th day of the 10th month. So in 10-9, I see my birthday. Now that's a personal thing. That's something that I do personally because someone else may look at these numbers and see January 9th. All right. And what they would be doing is they would look at the 1 as a representation of January, the first year of the month, and then 09 as a representation of the 9th day, and the 0 would represent a placeholder. Okay. So anyhow, with me, however, because October 9th is my birthday, it's 10-9. Okay. Because these numbers are an allusion to my birthday. All right. Now, I want to talk about time. Specifically, I want to talk to you about time. And with respect to time, I want to call your attention to the those hours and minutes, or those times on the clock or throughout our day, whereby if I saw them, if I noticed them, I would deem them to be an allusion to my birthday. Okay? What am I talking about? I'm talking about, let's say, we'll start with 1:09 a.m. And I'll write it again, 1:09 p.m. Okay? If I were to check my watch or check a clock and see 1:09 a.m. or 1:09 p.m., it's pretty obvious I'm looking at the numbers 1, 0, and 9. 1, 0, and 9. And even if we imagine that this colon here, it has been removed, we can still clearly see 1, 0, and 9. And again, because it's my birthday, or because I imagine that I'm looking at my birthday, or I imagine that I'm looking at something that is alluding to my birthday, I would say, okay, I see 10 and 9. All right. Even I know that I'm looking at 1:09 a.m. or 1:09 p.m. That's for sure. Okay. But, definitely it has to do with being lonely. It's something that, this is, only for the lonely, All right. Um, but that's nothing to be ashamed of because, when you have, you know, honestly, when you have a personal relationship with God, well, that is a personal relationship. That is one on one, right? So there's nothing to really be ashamed about here. But let's continue. So this is one example with respect to time. Another example would be, right, 10:09 a.m. and 10:09 p.m. All right. With this hour, I'd have to sort of finagle. I'd have to be a little bit more creative because here I'm actually looking at, you'd probably say this is the number. If we're going to remove the colon for time, we're looking at the number 1009. So how do I arrive at 10 and 9? Okay. Well, what I'm doing in that sense is I'm saying, of course, the hour is 10, right? And then these two values, this 0 and this 9 taken together, the only value, if you were to add them together, it would equal 9. And so I'm looking at this second 0 as solely a placeholder. I could certainly do the same with this 0 and look at it as a placeholder, but this 0 helps establish the value 10, right? Because if this 0 were absent, it would be 1:09 a.m. or 1:09 p.m. So anyhow, at this hour, I'm looking at 10 and 9. And again, that would be an allusion to my birthday. So if I check my watch at 10:09 a.m. or 10:09 p.m., I say to myself, hey, that's my birthday. All right. Now, for the majority of the experiences that I reference and that I describe in my book, all right, for the majority of them, they are instances when I see, when I check my watch at 1:09 a.m. or p.m., 10:09 a.m. or p.m. The majority, okay? But as I will demonstrate now, there is another instance when I would say, that's another moment where I've encountered 1:09, and that would be when this hour strikes. Okay, so for instance, in this case, we have 11:09 a.m. and 11:09 p.m. Well, again, if you were to remove the colon, you would see you'd have to do a little bit more finagling and be a little bit more creative because you'd have to imagine that this second one, isn't there. You'd have to imagine that that one is not there and the colon is not there in order for you to see 1:09, okay? Because 10:09, you don't see 10:09 here. And even if we're adding the numbers, for instance, this is a 1 and a 1, and that's 2, that completely throws everything off, right? So you'd have to imagine that 1 is not there, and this colon is not there either. So 1:09, okay? Although I could say this is an instance when I see 1:09. This is, and I've written it, here. This is the third instance. I've written it here because this is sort of a lower tier, a lower level whereby that's not the the most important instances or the stories that that resonate so deeply with me, they do not occur when I see this or at this hour, right? They occurred at this hour and at this hour. For instance, at 1:09 a.m., I was in Medellin, Colombia. I went to sleep and there wasn't a sound that woke me. There was no nothing happened to wake me. I just happened to open my eyes and wake up. And I immediately, as soon as I woke up, I grabbed my cell phone and checked the time, and it was at I had awoken at 1:09 a.m. All right, that story happened, and so when that happened, I said, "Wow, here's another instance when I encountered these numbers 1:09." All right, or as I like to call them, 10:9. Let me add the quotation marks to call it. So basically, what this book, the title of this book actually is 10:9, right? But you could, you could call it 1:09, 109 if you wish. But I prefer to call it 10:9 because in the book, as you will discover by buying my book, okay, spend some green on it. um, my book, is a house. It houses the poem inside, and for uh, for a poetic, maybe a poetic meter, I use the phrase 10:9 when referring to these numbers rather than saying 1:09 or 109. It's just a better rhythm that is added to the poem. All right. And it holds more significance because 10:9, excuse me, when I describe the hours at which I saw these, I saw these numbers, instead of calling the hour at 1:09 a.m., for instance, in the poem, I just say, I woke up at 10:09, for instance, okay? I checked my watch at 10:09. It just helps the poem flow better. So it's a poetic device, if you will. Okay? So these are the instances. Are there any others? No, there are no others because, of course, if the only other would possibly be, 10:90 a.m., but of course that time doesn't exist, right? So these are the times that, you know, that these are the moments, these are the times when I would check my watch, check my cell phone clock, or just find myself, checking the time and happening to see, these hours 10:09 a.m., 10:09 p.m., 11:09 a.m., 11:09 p.m., 1:09 a.m., 1:09 p.m. What's interesting is something I recall waking up when I lived in South Korea multiple times, multiple occasions at 10:09 a.m. Okay, there were multiple times when I woke up at this hour to check my phone, to check my clock at that time, and I had a knack for checking the clock at this particular hour, and I thought to myself, this is kind of strange. It's kind of cool because I always said this was an allusion to my birthday, but at the same time, as it progressively increased the number of times when I would check my phone at that hour, I would say, why is this happening? Why am I checking my phone at this hour? All right. So this is a personal interpretation of one's experience with these times and what they have meant to me or how they resonate with me. Now, what's interesting is as I tell my story, I'll stand over here. As I tell my story, I find that other people have these moments when they check their watch or check a clock at a certain hour, and that hour reminds them of their birthday. I remember speaking to a gentleman recently, and he said that he was born October 11th. So his time is 10:11. All right. And then another gentleman I met a few months ago said, as when I was describing this experience to him, he said, yeah, I do the same thing. You know, my birthday is December 13th. So when he checks his watch and he sees 12:13, that tells him that's your birthday. So um, as I've learned and as I've discovered through talking and explaining, this personal phenomena, I've discovered that there's nothing really personal about it. It's something common, something very common that we all experience. The birthday nuance may be something. It may be something unique or special, but also remember, sometimes we check our clocks, we check our phones, the clocks on our cell phones at 1:11 or 2:22 and 3:33, 4:44, etc., etc. And in those moments, some people have built a tradition of saying, make a wish at that hour. I can think of, I recall listening to Nipsey Hussle's record. He said, 11 past 11, she told me, make a wish. All right. But also, I can think of Jay-Z. Jay-Z found that the number 444 resonated with him, so much so that he entitled one of his albums that very number, 444. So this is a common experience, something, that we all experience at some degree, okay? I admit, for me to have collected basically 12 or 13 years worth of experiences, worth of encounters, is a bit bizarre, or as I would like to call it, it's unique, like my name. My middle name is Alfred, and when I was in the Middle East, instead of writing Alfred, mistakenly or intentionally, they changed my name from Alfred to Al-Farid. Al-Farid is an Arabic name and one that closely resembles Alfred. And when I asked them, what does this mean? What name are you giving me? They said it means unique. All right, guys, so that's my story. Thanks for watching my video. Peace and have a wonderful, blessed day.